we're back. So we did something a little different here. We actually had the great honor and pleasure of sitting down and having a great conversation with the Disney Imagineer, Jim Henson Puppeteer, the legendary
Terri Hardin.
Terri Hardin. And man, did we have a great talk with Terri, and it was just a lot of fun.
It was great. We could talk for hours about this, but what we're going to do instead, stick around, watch it. Every Tuesday we're going to introduce
Terri Tuesdays. So we hope you guys join us with that. It was, like I said, great segments of conversation with Disney Imagineer Terri Hardin.
So come with us.
Let's go. We are so honored to have you come on our show. You don't even know.
So excited.
We have Jim Henson Puppeteer,
Disney Imagineer,
the legendary Terri Hardin. Thank you so much, Terri, for being here.
I am so happy to be here. Now we're family.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
right?
That's good. And in Terri Hardin fashion, we have our cup of tea.
It's wonderful. Yay! Mine's in the house with my dog.
Our son's got the dog in the back there. Speaking of what we were speaking about before, I have been following you on Facebook since you started. I remember the phone. I remember you getting home. So I loved it. I thought.
Oh, I love you. Thank you. If you watch those videos and you see how much I screwed up, because you guys were there, you remember me sitting there like this going,
I do.
Am I on?
I do, yeah.
How do I know if I'm on? And everybody started coming on.
You're live.
Yeah, I remember those.
Seriously, if I can do it, you can. And you're being authentic. You're lost, and you're asking people who I think for the most part, people are going to have your back, especially when you're so cute going, I have no idea what I'm doing right now.
The way I found you is you and I have a 6 degree of separation. We have a mutual friend. I found you on when I was
Facebook stalking. We're going to call it what it is. She was Facebook stalking.
I was trying to find a better word.
No. Yeah, exactly.
I was Facebook stalking Joe Yakovetic, who's also an artist and pumpkin carver, and a friend of yours. And I saw your name and I saw Disney Imagineer and I went, what? So I thought I'd just like take a chance and ask you, friend requested, and you said yes. And so,
of course. Yeah.
Oh my
God. And Joseph is hilarious. Joseph, when I first met Joseph and then later we started to talk, a lot of times artists have a habit of getting into their own heads a bit too much. I think people do, but he was, and I said, Joseph, you're amazing. Your work is incredible. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Right. There's nothing wrong with being an artist and holding your head high and saying my work is good, et cetera, et cetera. But he moved to Florida, and the other day he sent me a house for sale. This house is for sale. But I said, are you trying to lure me to Florida? And he wrote back, is it working?
We need you here.
Right? Now, did you ever do, because I know we would go and see Joe when Disney used to do the pumpkin carving in what used to be Big Thunder Ranch. Did you do that too?
No. And here's what happened. They called me and they said, we'd love for you. See, the difference is, and let me just explain to everyone, back in, many of you that's listening might not have been born then, but just bear with me. I'm 63. But in 1987, I got blessed with becoming an Imagineer, and I worked inside the studios of Imagineering till 97. Right. Then I walked out and worked with Henson for a while, et cetera, and on and on and on. So I am the come here, get away Imagineer, meaning that when they need someone and in a pinch, they'll hire me for a week or two and then they'll kick me out. And for me, this works. For many, it may not work. As an Imagineer, you want to be adopted, you want to stay, the whole 9 yards. But for me, it works. The challenges when you are a full-on Disney, with the Disney company, they really don't want you to do a lot of stuff outside. And if they do, they could own it.
Right.
So this is the challenge with a lot of people. And so I tell people, if you're going to be a part of Disney, understand that it can be your dream, and this is wonderful. Just remember that you will be working for their company, and if you're someone like me who has other ideas, you may or may not get to do them.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, this was perfect. This was just perfect to be this kind of person.
You worked on Captain EO with Michael Jackson, and I mean, I don't want to say how was that, because that was probably amazing, but I mean, please tell us about that. That's just amazing to hear that.
Captain EO is such a wonderful opportunity. I am still a builder. People look at it as cosplay now, and over my shoulder you can see I have this mermaid tail.
Yeah.
This I built when I saw Splash. You actually can swim in it, and it was built in 1980. She really shouldn't. I call her she, but she really shouldn't exist. She should have been dead in the 90s, because they said the longest it's going to last is 15 years, and it's over 40 years old.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's just I did a couple of tweaks I met with the Splash guy who built the Splash tail, and then I talked with him and I made it. So note to all you guys out there, if you want to make it. Tell people you want to do it, and get them to chime in and tell you how to do it.
Right.
Bob Short told me I was never going to be able to do it, and that of course was the gauntlet is thrown.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Coming after you.
so you go, I'm going to do it. And of course you do. But the point of the matter is that when you, as a puppeteer, you're building this stuff. I built all this crazy stuff for various movies and films. And I was a foam sculptor, meaning hard foam. So I was carving all this crazy stuff. And then I got the opportunity, I got a phone call coming on, you come home from your job, and it was, Terri Hardin, we want to talk to you about building some costumes for a new thing we're doing called Captain EO, starring Michael Jackson. And I said, okay, that sounds kind of cool. And we'll have George Lucas producing. And I said, ooh, getting better.
Yeah.
And Francis Ford Coppola. And I went, oh my God.
You're like, sold.
Who do I have to kill to get on this production?
Right.
And I went in and I showed them my work, and they hired me.
Wow.
And I was building the Whip Warriors from the film.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And it was hilarious, because we said, are these Whip Warriors going to dance? They go, no, they're walking in, they're moving the whip, they're walking out. I should have went and watched production.
And then they danced.
Because they danced.
And then they dance.
Put a dancer in the Whip Warrior, what are they going to do? They're going to dance.
Right, exactly.
But at the time, this is how Michael, at one point Michael got hurt because the Whip Warriors couldn't see, and the Whip Warriors couldn't see because they weren't supposed to be jumping around. But in any case, stuff happens like that in film, and that's the way it works. So we were building these Whip Warriors, and I come home, and there's a message on my machine. Terri, we hear you're a very good puppeteer, and we're wondering if you'll come audition to be some of the characters in a show that we're doing called Captain EO. Before you say no, you might want to know that this has Michael Jackson. Yes, I know. And it has, it has Francis Ford Coppola. Yes, I'm aware of that.
Wow,
and George Lucas. So I called them back and I said, look, I'm already on the stages. I'm already on the lot. Yeah. You just step outside your production and you turn left and go all the way down to stage 11 and say, hi. The next day I got another phone call, at least give us the courtesy of letting us know. And I thought, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I went early, I walked into production and I said, hey, I'm down that way. And they went, who are you? And I said, I'm Terri Hardin. You've been calling me and I've been telling you I'm down that way building on the show already. And they were like, oh, well, you want to try out for this? And I was like, yeah. That was the whole point, yeah. And I think I got Idie and Odie because I could lift them.
Were they heavy?
15 pounds a piece.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, not bad until you're doing a sequence where you're doing this for about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But luckily for me, I had been doing, I had done the Terror Dogs and Ghostbusters. I had done a lot of movie puppets. A lot of the movie puppets are built by people who don't know how to build puppets.
Yeah.
But you put all kinds of stuff in it that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
And they were very heavy. But I performed them, and they liked what it was, and so they cast me as this character, and I went to a table reading, and that's the first day I got to meet Michael Jackson and Angelica Houston and Francis Ford Coppola. And full disclosure, absolute truth, I was so scared to meet Francis Ford Coppola because I didn't want to go all fangirl. You know, he reaches out his hand and I go, oh,
Yeah.
you know, I wanted to be a professional, but Godfather was one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
And I had just really dissected it and watched it over and over again. And I was just afraid. And so when I walked onto the set, a man in Bermuda shorts walked up and said, "Hi, I'm Francis." I said, "Hi, I'm Terri." He walked away and I went, "For Coppola?"
That was him.
So it was good. It was good. But Michael Jackson was late.
Yeah.
We all sat at the table, and Francis Ford Coppola said to us, here's the table reading. All the characters are going to be who they are. And then everyone who was in the costumes, meaning the people who were in Idie and Odie, the bird character, Tony Cox, who was in the little Hooter character, and so on and so forth, they were going to read the lines because puppeteers are pretty much non-existent with Disney. They seem to think that the faces work miraculously, but I don't know, whatever. So we were fine. We were just sitting, but they said, the rest of you sit in and you'll know what's going on. And you're like, okay, whatever. Yeah. Well, I had a seat next to me, and we were all waiting on Michael Jackson. And all of a sudden, Michael Jackson came in with a Disney entourage and his own entourage, which means a protest, actually. And something the size of a protest.
All protests? Are we talking like a large, like
a lot of people? You know, all of a sudden you go, somewhere in the middle must be Michael Jackson because that's a lot of people.
Wow.
And he came and he sat down next to me, the only seat available. Yeah. I thought maybe they'd move seats around, you know. And he sat next to me and he sort of looked like, hi, hey, you know. Yeah. And they explained that we're going to do this table reading, Michael, and Michael said, Mr. Coppola, can I record this? And Francis says, of course, record it. Well, now for the first time, I see that Michael has three very distinct entourage people. We'll call them hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Three men that sat up against the wall. And the minute Michael said record, man number one, recorder, push.
Wow.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Michael just went, you know. So we start to read, and all of a sudden in the middle of the read, Michael gets a little flustered, and I'm not really paying attention. I'm reading along. And I'll look over, and he's just buried in pages. And for some reason, the script is everywhere, and he's just like this. Number two, whoosh, grabs those pages.
Wow.
Boom.
It is gone.
Oh my God.
Wow.
What?
And Michael, yeah. So we continue. And all of a sudden, Michael goes, I am third guy, juice, boom, gone.
What? What is going on?
When I do this,
everybody needs a juice guy.
I look at Michael and I go, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
And Michael goes like this. And I go, what the heck?
Yeah.
I said, no. Don't, you know, Michael Jackson now, of course, is like, looking at me because I talk to everybody like they're a regular person because they are.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, what is going on here? And so I said, no. I'm going to try it. Mm-hmm. Where's my juice?
Yeah.
And Michael looks at me and says, hey, you're funny. That's how the relationship started.
Yeah.
Other highlights with Michael Jackson was I got to play a whip warrior and run after him with a bullwhip.
Oh, wow.
And I told him I had been working with a bullwhip for several years, so I'm very accurate. And I would turn to him and I'd go, Michael, run. you know? And Michael would be like, oh! And Francis would go, Terri, get over here.
Right.
You know, so puppeteers are a little twisted, really nutty, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And Francis let us know while we were reading at the table read, for 2 weeks prior to the table read, we had been auditioning love interests. For those of you who were born and remember 1985, so if you're born in 1985, you probably don't remember it very well. But if you remember 1985, Michael was on fire. He was absolutely the most hottest performer. He, you know, you could have been a moon man and not known Michael Jackson. You just knew it. And he had Beat It, he had Thriller, he had Billie Jean. These videos, one right after another, off the charts, amazing. And so he was smoking, if you will. And so everyone had a little girlfriend for him. They had a girl, a love interest. So for 2 weeks we were, like I have a mouse in my pocket, they were auditioning these beautiful young ladies to be his love interest for Captain EO. And then we got at the table read, and Angelica Houston made it very, very clear that she was not only going to play the witch, she was going to be the princess.
Yeah.
And Francis said, Queen, dear, you're a little bit old to play the princess.
Oh.
So she went, Queen then.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and all of the clothing, all that had been done, and the girl, everything, poof, because the 3 Disney people I told you about were like, because she was up for Prissy's Honor Academy Award that she later won.
Oh
For
yeah.
Academy Award. So they really did not want to upset her.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, this is the way these wheels work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's John Huston's daughter, you know?
Yeah, she's a Houston, and they come in walking and talking and moving like a Houston, you know. Francis tells us now that we're going to do improvisation, which anyone in theater, especially your son, will know is probably one of the most fun things in the world to do. And now you're doing it. Francis Ford Coppola always, he says, I always have my actors do improvisation for a week or two of rehearsals before we get into the, because you have some get to know you. And I was like, so do we get to do that too? And he goes, everybody.
Yay.
And I was like,
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
are you kidding?
Right.
So we did this one that's most in my memory. And the one that's most in my memory is that he separated us into groups. And then you tell each little group what is their secret. So he gathered all the puppeteers and all the super performers together. And he said, he said to everybody, it's a cat, you're at a day camp. You're at a camp. You know, it's one of these summer camps. Everybody, summer camp. And we are like, okay. And then he goes over to us and he goes, okay, I want the puppeteers over here. I want Angelica Houston over here. And I want Michael Jackson over there. And so we're all separated in our little modules. He comes over and whispers to us, your job is to not listen to Michael Jackson no matter what he says. You are to be obnoxious little kids. And we're like, okay. Mm-hmm. And then he walked over to Michael Jackson and he said, Michael, your secret is that if you don't get these kids to behave, you can be fired. And then Angelica was to come in and fire him.
Right.
No module knows what goes where, and action. So Michael is like, please quiet down. We're pulling on him. We're crawling all over him. You know, we're doing our thing. He's like, no, you don't understand. If you don't mind me, now saddle. If you don't mind me, then you don't want me to get fired, do you? So you gotta settle. And then Angelica walks in the room. And the air goes out of the hangar where we are rehearsing. We're rehearsing on a sound stage. There is no air left. It was probably a lot like meeting the Wicked Queen or Maleficent.
Wow.
It was just amazing. And there she was in all of her Angelica Houstonness.
Right.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Wow.
And Michael goes, and we all go quiet.
Yeah. You're like, ooh.
And she walks in. Have you ever seen Alien?
Yeah.
Now she's closing in on Michael Jackson. She's getting closer. And Michael is going like this. Then she reaches out, grabs him by the shirt, and picks him up. For those of you who have seen Darth Vader pick up that poor soldier in the opening credits of episode 4, A New Hope, you will remember that's a scary moment. And there was poor Michael. And she looks him in the face. Yeah.
Wow.
Looks him in the face and she says, "You insignificant little worm.
Wow.
You're fired." And she lets him go.
Oh.
And he tumbles back. He trips over his feet, falls on his behind, and slides and sits in the stopped position,
Collecting his thoughts.
just terrified. Terrified. Francis says, "Beautiful cut." Michael still, "You all right, Michael?"
Give me a second to collect myself.
After that, he wouldn't go near Angelica Houston.
Really?
If she was walking towards him, he made so if this was her walking and he was walking this way, he went like this.
Oh, he went around. He was
Avoided her. Now, this is fine under normal circumstances unless you're playing Captain EO opposite the witch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a sequence where she's up in the air, as you remember, and he floats up to her and he has that beautiful angry face.
Yep.
Well, anytime you can't see the witch, that's me.
I was gonna
Yeah,
ask.
that was the
How
question.
did you get
Yeah.
that position?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to take you a little side note here.
Okay.
Angelica Houston tended to be a bit on the not so friendly side. I want to say it that way because she wasn't mean.
Yeah.
Sure.
She just wasn't approachable.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And her trailer was next to a trailer I was in. The thing about being a puppeteer is sometimes you don't get a trailer, even though you should. Sometimes you're ending up on some sort of green room where, oh, there's a spot, throw the puppeteers over there.
Yeah.
So in this case, Tony Cox had a full-on trailer to himself, and he said, "Terri, why don't you share my trailer?" Which I thought was very sweet of him.
Yeah.
Tony Cox is all of 3 foot something tall. You've seen him in Bad Santa. You've seen him in Me, Myself, and Irene. He plays the other man. I mean, the guy is a rock star. The guy is just a rock star. He's so sweet. And at the time, he drove a Cadillac, which was really funny.
Yeah.
I would say, "Okay, Tony, you got to tell me the secret of driving the Cadillac." And you opened it up and it had blocks and it had special, you just
He can operate the pedal. That's awesome.
he is just the sweetest, nicest person,
Yeah.
human being that you're ever going to meet. So anytime he was into, he says, "Have you ever seen I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker?" And I said, "Yeah, a long time ago." He says, "I'm the pimp."
Oh.
And you go, and you watch it, and it's one of those long limousines where the door slides open, and in your head you imagine that, the pimp's going to have the Superfly hat, and he's going to roll out, and Tony is standing.
In there.
So the door slides open, and you expect it to be someone sitting. Tony's standing
Yeah.
Yeah.
in his Superfly outfit. It is hilarious. And so Tony is one of these people that follows the what my father used to say is poison cannot hurt you unless you take it.
Yeah.
So Tony, that's Tony. The man is just amazing. Another girl who used to be that way very much was Debbie Carrington. She played one of the halves of Idie and Odie inside, and she played Thumbelina in Total Recall. She just is she was a rock star. She's passed, but she was one of these people that size didn't matter. Size may be in your head, but not in hers. And that's what you just love about people who are so embrace who you are, and then strut your stuff like a peacock because you deserve to.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're not a goose.
Yeah.
Okay. You are blessed to be born a human being. And human beings are magical creatures. You may not have heard this lately, but you really are. And here's why. Because if the day sucks today, tomorrow you can make it better. Okay? Yeah. You're not a goose who suddenly finds themselves flying south for the winter.
Yeah.
I really don't want to fly south for the winter. Why am I flying south for the winter? Honk. I don't want to. I don't want to, but it doesn't matter because you were born a goose and that's what's going to happen to you. Yeah. But as a human being, you're a blessed creature. So don't let anybody tell you you're not worthy. Don't let anybody try to dictate what your life is like. You are worthy, you are special, and you are supposed to be here. No matter what you look like, it really is something that doesn't matter. Yeah. And people are putting too much emphasis on that. What matters is you're good to each other, you're kind to each other, and you're about each other and not about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I live in Hollywood and a lot of people are about themselves. Yep. And you just got to not be that way. And that's the thing. Right. So I saw Angelica not being approachable. She's in the trailer right next to me. So I would, every day I'd go over, I'd throw open her trailer and I'd go, "Hi, Angelica." And then I'd slam the door.
Yeah.
I must have done this about 3 times for 3 or 4 days. I did this.
Yeah.
Whatever that day was, let's say day 4, I opened it and she said, "Get in here."
Right.
And I sat like this. And she said, "What's the matter with you? You got brain damage or something? What is the matter with you?" And I just sat there like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she says, "Well, what is it?" And I said, "Angelica, you have been so sad or angry or, I don't know, not happy."
Yeah.
And I thought if you started your day with a smile from someone who wants you to be happy, that you might feel better.
Yeah.
And she stared at me for a good long time. And then she said, "Are you for real?" And I said, "I'm as serious as a heart attack." And she just burst out laughing. And she said, "I can't even believe it." And she said, "I can't even believe that I said, I'm a puppeteer. We're weird."
Yeah.
One of the things we know is that I don't sit there and say, "Gosh, she must hate me." I don't make it about me.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I said, "What's going on with this lady? I love this lady."
Yeah.
You know, what's got her? And what had happened was she had been broken up in a tabloid magazine. Her boyfriend at the time, Jack Nicholson, had broken up with her in a tabloid magazine.
Right.
So instead of calling her up out of respect and saying, "I don't feel it anymore," he told it to a reporter in a magazine, and it was all over international.
Yeah.
Okay. Jerk.
Yeah.
And then in the article, he explained that he had found someone else, and he you know, I'm sorry, but sometimes people don't think.
Yeah.
And he said that he was with this other woman on the day that her father passed.
Oh no.
So it was just like a, you know, just stab me, why don't you?
Yeah.
You know, and do it publicly so everyone can see how much you want to hurt me.
Yeah.
And she was just devastated. And I said, "Angelica, no one should have to go through that."
Yeah.
And, you know, you may have wanted to work in the industry, but you never wanted to be famous, did you?
Right.
And she said, "No." And this is Michael too. "No, I just want to do what I want to do. But with doing being something really good in an entertainment field, you got, that's the bitter with this, for better or worse, the worst can be fame."
Yeah.
So indeed, that's what it was. But after that, she was smiling. She was in a great mood. She was a lot of fun until she was told she was going to have to hang 20 feet in the air. And then she said, "No."
That didn't go over very well.
I shot second unit and I wasn't even on the set when she said, "I think Terri is stupid enough. I mean, crazy. I think Terri would be great." And they came to me and they said, "Are you interested in being a stunt double for Angelica Houston?
Wow.
We'll bump your pay a few $100. You got to hang 200 feet in the air. And she suggested you." And I said, "I'm in."
Yeah.
You know, I don't
call you and say, "Hi."
No. They just walked over to the set and said, "Terri, interested in doing this?" And I was like,
in it. Yeah.
And so Angelica only goes up 5 feet.
Yeah.
In Captain EO, she goes up this high, like, you know, there was a table. She goes up this high and everybody massages her back when she gets down. "Oh, are you comfortable?" You know, "You're very comfortable." "Oh, I hope so." That's what you do with someone who's won an Academy Award. You know, 5 minutes, she goes, "I'm good." You know, "Okay, make sure you got your massage," you know. And then people like me, if I want to come down, they go like this.
That is awesome.
So, and we look so much like each other. Michael was terrified when he was doing the lines towards me, and Francis Ford Coppola was getting angry. So that's when I asked to come down. That's when they went like this. And I walked around in the witch makeup and looked up at Michael Jackson and said, Michael Jackson! And he went, ah! And I said, it's Terri. And he goes, Terri? And I said, yes. Can we get this done, please?
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. And so that's why he looks so good, because he's opposite of Buddy instead of the always scary to him, Angelica
Houston. So what do you have
to
going on right now? What do you,
right now, I'm so glad you asked that.
Yeah.
Right now, I have had ghosts on the brain.
Well, it is the season, right?
Yeah, and for 2 years I do these little collectibles. I offer anyone, if they collect my work or they're interested in me doing something, I created an impressions line, and if you tell me a character that you want and I do it, you get to buy number 1. 2 years ago, a guy said, I'd like you to do the hitchhiking ghosts.
How cool.
And I was like, don't you have enough of them?
Yeah.
They're everywhere. I mean, and this year they became popcorn buckets that don't hold popcorn. Oh, I digress.
Or there's a drink, one of them is a drink carrier that only holds like a bottle of soda. It's so weird now.
Yeah. But they're very popular characters, and I kept thinking, why? You know, somebody asked me to do Groot, and I said, don't you have enough Groots? And they said, but when you sculpted, it would be Groot.
Right.
And I said, oh my goodness, that's one of the nicest things you said. And I did, and he sold out very quickly. I usually only do editions of 50 to 100.
Oh, okay.
So for 2 years, I'm trying to do these ghosts. I want to make them special. I want to make them unique. Right. I get on the idea that I want to make them illuminate. They have taken every part of my bone and fiber. They have become one of the most hardest things my team and I have ever created. And I'm going to walk you through them a little bit here.
Okay.
These are them. They are going to be available for pre-sale Friday. I'm like, what day are we on?
Wow.
And here they are. These are my hitchhiking ghosts. Now, let me just explain to you a little bit about them. We've been going on for a long time, but I got to tell you about these guys. Yeah, you're looking at them now. That's such a cute picture. But this one is when you open the box. This is the way the ghosts look when you open the box. Now you'll see they have these bases down below.
Yeah.
That's their bases. So collectors said the one thing they didn't like about the ghosts, if they could say something, they wanted them to be separate.
From the
base.
They
wanted to be able to physically separate them.
Them individually.
Individually. So you see here, under Gus, under Ezra, under the professor, they're individually a little platform so you can tuck them amongst your collection. Okay. This is what they asked for, okay? Now the next one is that I wanted them to illuminate. So this, you have the light on, you turn the light on inside these ghosts. This is what they look like with the light on. But the thing that makes your teeth fall out and maybe want to sell your children is them right here in the dark, illuminated. And you'll notice that we worked very hard to make the light look like a ghost. Yeah, not a flashlight.
That color like on the ride
is gorgeous.
Yeah,
aren't they pretty?
Oh my God.
And then here you are. You have a collection, and now how are these ghosts going to be displayed? What would be a cool way to display them? And of course, that's my lighting system. This is the way you can display them.
Oh wow!
So here they are in a cabinet with a little added light because my cabinet light is on. Yeah. But you notice they look like they're simply materializing amongst your collection. Now, light being on, you can see the edge of the bases that they stand on. But here, you cannot. So if we zoom in on Gus a little bit, you'll see in the feet of Professor Phineas, they're floating.
Yeah.
They're floating. And I can't even tell you what it took this is one of those things where I was trying to see if I had a good shot of, here. Look at Phineas's handbag. It actually shows his leg behind the bag.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's a specter, it's a ghost. It's
Right.
when I talk to people about how I create stuff, I don't necessarily copy what's already there.
Yeah.
I simply learn about what's there and then create a character in those brackets, in those configurations.
Yeah.
So I asked collectors if they had a Phineas in a cape, and most of them said no.
Right.
Yeah.
So we did Phineas in the cape.
I like it.
You know, does he have to be in the jacket and pants? I've seen him in a cape. And they said, oh my God, because these are collectors that have 50,000 of these.
Right.
Yeah.
They want something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want you to be able to have something that you look at it and you know it's from me.
Yeah.
Right. You know it. So I announced on my live feed, and it's like, I laugh at myself. The reason I'm laughing at myself is because it's only 20 minutes long, this video, and it's all about, I say only, it's all about the ghosts.
Yeah.
So what I do is I send this video to people. It's on the YouTube, my YouTube channel, under Terri Hardin Presents Hitchhiking Ghosts. And it's live, but it talks about the pricing, the investment, what it takes to build them, and then I'm going to do a pre-sale. So if you buy the whole, if you buy them all at once, it's $999. So they're a lot more expensive than most of the stuff that I put out, but it took everything I had to make them work. And I've had some people say, each ghost is $999, and I tell them I love you, but no, it's all three.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that to you. I'll pull up, I think it's the professor. Yeah, there's the professor. So we'll pull him out so you guys can see. So the professor, you can see now how tall they are. So they're in the impressions line still, and there he is. Might be a bit bright, but that's good for this part. So here's the bottom, and here's the AAAs. This is all protected, so you don't hit any of the mechanisms that activate it, because I don't want you guys being all worried, or did I bend those little clips and things with those nickel batteries and stuff, you bend it wrong or whatever. It just doesn't work. So that's the little base, and it fires it up like that. And for you guys who are like, what if I can't find the button? We made it a bright color.
No excuse to not find
No, I want to make it as easy as possible for you to love on these little ghosts.
Yeah.
But you can see that you put your hands and man, it just,
So cool.
I get all emotional when I see them, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm so happy. And people, I understand that when people hear $999, they get this thing up in their throat, and they feel very sad. And I say, look, don't feel sad. There's 2 other payment plans, but they will be a little more expensive if you exercise those payment plans.
Right.
But I have those payment plans on that video. So you can do $400 a month for 3 months, and they'll end up being $1,200, or you can do $250 a month for 6 months, and they'll end up being $1,500. But at least you can buy them over time.
Yeah.
And,
I like the $999. I think that's actually
that
really
fits.
very
it
cool.
Fits them perfectly.
My question to you is, how is it because you're a Disney Imagineer? How is it you could do Disney things?
I think so. I think that's what it is. I got to tell you that one of the things I'll tell you, it's a fine line. You'll know that if you go on eBay and you see all of these fan-based pins that are selling and selling and selling and selling, Disney will let that go until they won't.
Yeah.
Okay.
But who wins? The collector.
Yeah, it's true.
So when they want to stop you, they will.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well,
And then I hope they'll talk to me first, not just go, letter. I hope there's a name on the bottom, because I have a few ideas on how we could work together.
Yeah,
exactly.
But the problem is their Disney is like a revolving door. You get up the ladder, and then someone goes, ah, you go, oh, crap, I got to start over again.
Wow. So that's just part 1.
That is a
So,
drop in the bucket, my
yeah,
friends.
I mean, we had Michael Jackson talk, and then her hitchhiking ghost.
They're amazing.
Listen, those are done by hand, folks, and they light up like that. She still has a few left. We're gonna put it in our
The description down below is going to have all the ways to contact her, where to find her stuff.
Yeah.
She has more than just the Hitchhiking Ghosts on there, but those ones are limited and they're amazing.
Yes. And she also has a payment plan. So if you don't have the $999, which I think that is so
The
cool.
best.
That is so cool. She can do a payment plan. So look her up, please. Look on her Patreon page. And
she's on Instagram. She's on Facebook. She's
YouTube.
She is great. I highly recommend checking her out. We will have her Facebook, her Instagram, her YouTube will all be down below. Spread the love. Yeah. Check her out. Yeah. Go subscribe to her page. We subscribe to her. We watch her when she goes live all the time. It's
Mondays
fantastic.
And Fridays. So we hope you guys enjoyed that part 1. Look for more on the Terri Tuesdays to come. And thanks for joining us.
Have a good day, guys. So for our movie quote, because, of who we just interviewed, go for it.
We are here to change the world.
Gonna change the world. Woo! Have a good night, guys.